Joe, how's Neemi doing with the ankle?
I don't know. I'm going to see him after this.
And you had to play smaller through the course of this game, or you did play smaller through the course of this game. What do you see from the looks with Josh at center and even through Jordan in there late? What do you feel like those looks gave you?
Yeah, they're just continuing to get reps, different possessions. I thought Josh gave us, some great stuff. Just his ability to shoot tonight, and also did a great job screening. I think Jordan's getting better and better regardless of where he plays. So we just got to keep chipping away at those two guys. They got a chance to really help us, and they're getting better and better each game.
Celtics head coach Joe Mazzulla, this is Hold My Banner. Nesson Nation, thank you for being with us. Highest scoring game this year for the Celtics. Hashtag different here. Of course, the Garden win over the Magic, 138-129, 2-1 against Orlando this season. Although Ante Campbell, Adam Kaufman, it is worth noting the Magic were down 3 of their top 5 scorers. There was no Paolo Banchero, there was no Jalen Suggs, there was no Wendell Carter Jr. The Celtics out there with everyone that they tend to have available these days because we can't say Jason Tatum yet. But look, it was a, I was going to say nice win. I started to hem and haw internally because I don't know how nice a win it really was. I mean, you're blowing doors against this team, dominating this team, up by 20-some points, and you let them back in, you make it sweaty in the end. Nevertheless, we're talking about a team that has won 4 of 5. I would like my money back on my parlay off of the NBA Cup game loss against the Brooklyn Nets at home as like a 15-point favorite. Just win. Just had you in the money line. Just had to win, but whatever. My wallet, not your problem. Celtics now, with this little stretch of success, we'll talk about this in a bit. It's going to get tough. You got a gauntlet of a schedule coming up, and maybe most notably, as it relates to the Celtics right now, Ante, you got a lot of dangerous bigs on the way, and you have some uncertainty surrounding this Neemias Queta injury. Yeah,
there's a lot of uncertainty with that, and it really isn't a testament to how great of a player Neemi has became over his Celtics tenure. When we first got him here, everyone was like, "Who's the Cheese? How do you queso? How do you say that name?" No, that was how a lot of these Celtics fans were. Like,
I mean, legit, I think people went 2 years without even knowing his first name, let alone how to pronounce it. It was just so you call him Neemi? Neemish?
Right.
Just Queta, right? We're just going to call him Queta?
Right, yeah, exactly. So, he was that kind of a guy, and now he's the guy where people are worried. Like, people around Boston who are a fan of this Celtics team are sitting here today, and they're like, it's only one day, right? Like, he might only miss this game, right? Like, he's going to be good for the Pistons game. He's going to be good for the next. Like, people are out here sweating, and they should be sweating because when he's on the floor for this Celtics team, they have a totally different identity. You pair him up with whatever four-man you want. He's the guy who's really covering up defensively for the deficiencies that you lose when you have Jason Tatum at the 4, and now that he's gone. So, having Queta not there is a big issue, but I can tell you this. When he's not there and you were playing that small ball that we saw against the Magic, that team plays like everybody plays as a team. You see 5 guys going to get rebounds, not a lot of guys out there looking complacent. Everyone's trying to find a way to chip in. So maybe this does put a little spark into the Celtics team. It's just how long can that last?
Yeah, and it could be fun to watch. It could be, interesting to see unfold in terms of that personnel, even like Josh Minott playing center minutes, that sort of thing. We can get to some of these other options, but I think to just, really kind of hammer home and highlight some of the points that you were making in terms of Queta's, use the word great. Is Queta a great player? I don't know if Queta's a great player. Is he great within his role?
Within the role.
But I think what's important is maybe just that, right? He is an important player to this team as it currently exists, as it's currently constructed. Here are the numbers to back it up. Chris Forsberg did a great job writing about this. Best net rating on the team. Outscoring opponents by 16.8 points per 100 possessions in his nearly 400 minutes on the floor this year. Caesar outscored by more than 6 points per 100 possessions in similarly almost 400 minutes when he is off the floor. Okay, Boston's only player in the negative for off-court net rating. In other words, the Celtics are considerably better when Cade is on the floor. They are at their worst when he is off the floor. It's just that simple. If you don't want to, get buried and, head in the sand with all the analytics and advanced numbers and all, that's fine. Raw data, it will all just tell you this. They're at their best with Queta. They're at their worst without Queta.
Yeah.
And so we don't know. Maybe he's perfectly fine for this next game against Detroit. We don't have an update. We don't have an injury report. We're waiting on this right now as the game is tomorrow night. So we're more than 24 hours out. When he only plays 6 minutes, though, against the Magic and gets knocked out of that game, I think the feeling is he's not going to be available for this one. Maybe you disagree. Maybe they were just being overly precautious or, cautious and sort of leaned into a totally different thinking. And like Garza was available. Tillman was available.
Yeah.
These guys were, DNP-CD, did not play coaches' decisions.
Right.
Boucher played, but not much. It was, they just elected to go small in this game.
Yeah.
And so we could talk about sort of the aftermath of that going forward, but I don't know. How detrimental against a team like Detroit is it to you to not have Queta if that's how it unfolds?
I mean, huge, and we'll talk more about that game in a second here, but, I mean, when you're having to deal with Duren and Isaiah and those guys down there, and they're willing to fight you, and even, having a big guard like Cade getting to the rim. I know him and Derrick White have their battles, and, Derrick White blocks his shot and Cade dunks on him and all this other stuff, but, they have a big guard and a big lineup as well, so it could be a very scary situation for this Boston Celtics team going into a team that's won 13 in a row. So you need Queta. If not, you're going to need a game where, Tillman might have to play 5 minutes here, and then you get another 5 minutes out of Luka Garza. It might not even be that long. It might be like quick subs, like to just throw a team off of their rhythm. You know what I'm saying? Like 2 minutes of Tillman, then we get 2 minutes of Garza, then you got 2 minutes of Minott, maybe 2 minutes of Walsh at the 5. You never know. Like they might have to mix it up like that and just junk up the game a little bit.
This team right now, and we are early. We're almost at Thanksgiving, as we know. This team, standings-wise in the Eastern Conference, is right where you specifically don't want to be, which is you are in purgatory.
Yes.
You are not a playoff team. You are not a lottery team. You are a play-in tournament team.
Yeah.
You don't know what your future is. And so they could, and this has been a season-long discussion. It's been a conversation going back to the offseason. What do you think you are? What do you want to be? What's the goal for this year? Blah, blah, blah.
Yep.
But for right now, in this moment, and I've banged this drum I don't know how many times, you could support experimentation.
Yeah.
Now, part of that is going small. Part of it is just playing with your personnel.
Yeah.
They play with the rotations constantly. We've seen it in terms of changes to the starting lineup. We've seen it in terms of maybe Sam Hauser doesn't play this game, or Garza didn't play the most recent, as we said.
Yep.
So I say all of this really to introduce this point. Garza, Boucher, Tillman, Minott. These are guys capable of playing center for you if you don't have Nemi, even if you do have Nemi. What about Amari Williams, who I was really high on just when they drafted him? Not thinking, okay, this guy's going to come in and be a world beater or something like that, but just in terms of the potential. He has not played hardly at all. 7 NBA minutes in his NBA career. He's a rookie, so he's barely played. At Maine, 7 games, small sample, but the beginning of his pro career. He's averaging 13 points, 11 rebounds. I don't know. Seems like someone who could step in and potentially just, at least with his size, impact things a little bit.
Yes and no.
Okay.
Watching him play, I watched actually a couple of the main games this season. I watched, obviously, Summer League and watching him play. He's a lot like a young Nemi, where he's out of position, raw out of position a lot of times, doesn't have the foot speed yet to get back into the play and make up for those decisions. And then on top of that, just him being comfortable here in Joe's system. Like with Nemi, he knows, all right, if I get beat, you know what I mean? I have the wherewithal to know, like, hey, Joe doesn't care if I get beat as long as I go and clean that thing up off the glass. With Williams, he's still trying to figure out who he is as an NBA player, right? Like, he doesn't understand pick and roll at the level of Neemias Queta. Like, he doesn't understand how to play in the short roll just yet. He turns the ball over a lot when he has to be put in those positions to make decisions. He does that in the G League. Imagine what he would do in the NBA game. So, especially against a team like the Pistons, who we'll talk more about in a second. So, I am opposed to putting guys in the fire because I've seen it happen. Even I talked about this last year a lot with Reed Shepherd and the Rockets, and the Rockets fans still hate me to this day because I was on them about playing Fred VanVleet less and giving Reed minutes. Yeah, you're going to lose games, but in the long run, when you're ready to win, which I thought would be somewhere in the near future because of the young talent that they had, like, he will be ready once your team is ready. Now, we saw Reed come out in game 1 and be atrocious, and ever since then, they moved him to the bench, and he's been pretty fantastic. Besides last night, he was kind of bad. But for the most part, he's been, a really great player because they spent their time kind of developing him time after time, spent a lot of time in the G League learning some things, spends a lot of time, coming off the bench against in these blowout situations or teams that they knew weren't good, whatever. I bring all that up to say, I don't want to see him in this stretch run. Like we talked about, like you alluded to, there's a gauntlet coming up. You got the Knicks, you got the Lakers, you got this Pistons team, you got a Raptors team who's red hot right now. Like there's a couple of guys in there that you're like, I don't want them to see. If we had an opportunity, it was when you played the Nets back-to-back. Like, hey, Williams, let's see if we can get you some time here, blah, 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 whatever. They dropped one anyways.
Yeah, might have won. Might have helped.
Might as well have put him in there. So, I like Williams. I think he is a guy that can help out in the future. I think it's more of a 2 to 3 year project, as a lot of these Celtics draft picks, especially second-round draft picks, have been over the last couple of years. He is an older guy. I'm not talking about this dude like he's 18. He's 23 or 22 at this point, one of those two. So he does need some sped-up development, but not that fast.
Yeah, I mean, he's played 7 more NBA minutes than I have at this point in time.
Right.
So it's, raw, young. Obviously, he has no clue who his NBA version of himself is going to be. That's going to take some time to figure it out.
Right.
More on this game. Not the Pistons game. We'll do that coming up. But looking back on Orlando, and again, it was just such a strange game. I think their largest deficit was like 4. They didn't trail by much, but they led by as many as 26. Controlled the fast break points. Controlled the points in the paint. They were out rebounded. No great shock there with Orlando.
Right.
From 3, 15 of 33. It was a very low volume, but the success was good at 45%. It was 2 quarters, right? That was the strange thing. Second quarter, you shoot 82%.
Yeah.
I mean, video game stuff.
Minott and Simons, thank you for that.
Yeah, 48-30, you outscored the Magic. Outscored in the fourth quarter, and what made it close ultimately, 40-28. Game of runs all over the place.
Yeah.
Celtics were in the process of giving this game away, and then Jaylen scores 12 straight points in the third quarter, part of a big night for him as he pushed toward 40. Just, I guess I wonder, is it as simple as shot making that helped lead to this win and this almost 140-point performance, or is there something absent Nemi, small ball, the rotations, all the things that we saw against the Magic that they can take from going into this stretch?
Well, first of all, I want to say, shout out to the Magic nepotism babies because they went absolutely ballistic in the fourth quarter. They did, you know what I'm saying? Shout out to Jason Richardson, you know what I'm saying?
It was a game.
Shout out to Jet Howard. They went crazy in that fourth quarter. I think that's just part of it. Like, they are. And with that, I think that part of the comeback is just the unknown of young guys like that, They come in, they get hot, they feel good. They don't know anything about respecting their elders and laying down. They're like, hey, man, I'm trying to make some money. I'm
here.
I'm trying to get some money in my pocket. So, it's really more about that. I think it was more about what their shot making that came out of nowhere than the Celtics not doing this and doing that, because I feel like from that second quarter on, they really did a lot of the similar things, right? It's just those guys made shots. What I will say is what I loved about that second quarter, and that's something that they need to bring into the next game, is the fact that you had Minott and you had Simon show up when Jalen got into foul trouble. Derrick White went away again.
Yeah.
Peyton Pritchard also was very bad in the first quarter as far as shot making goes, So it was one of those things where you showed that guys who may not be relying on every single night could step up and make plays. We thought you and I probably both thought Luka Garza was going to play. Like, you see, you know what I mean? You see Queta go down, you're like, oh, okay, now here comes the Garza minutes, and those don't come.
At least let him use those fouls.
Those don't come. And Boucher, you thought you wouldn't see. But he came in and gave positive minutes. You know, it might have not showed up in the box score, but he was out there keeping guys in front, making decisions for this team, being out the way, letting the two dudes who were going off go off, setting good screens, doing those type of things, and just, you know, keeping the offense copacetic, but also allowing the defense to, you know, he was in the right spots. That goes a long way in the NBA. Like, I think people will talk about, like, oh, you know, he didn't have blocks, he didn't do this, blah, blah, blah. Like, sometimes just staying in front of your man and being in help side when you're supposed to, and making dudes have to make decisions and forcing guys to shoot, having Jamal Cain shoot threes, we know he can't make those. Those kind of things help your team in more ways than, oh, I got this block and I got this steal and I did this and I did that. So you need guys who are going to just play their role, do your job, as Bill Belichick always says, do your job. You need a lot of that. So shout out to those guys. It was a lot of that, just the small guys making big plays.
Yeah, I mean, again, what you just alluded to, like Peyton Pritchard, I'm going to single these guys out. I'm just referencing for my point. Pritchard had 19 points, 8 assists, 5 rebounds, 2 steals. Derrick White, 16 points, 7 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 steals, 3 blocks. These are guys that, and you can say what you want about the way they shot in this game, or certainly some streaks that they've been on throughout the year. This was kind of one of those fill out the box score type performance. I don't need you to fill out the box score. Great if you do, but you could also be a Jordan Walsh who's just turning into something of a lockdown defender that doesn't accumulate a whole bunch of volume stats. Totally fine with me. That can be helpful. It can be impactful. It can lead you to that plus rating and all of these things. Like even a Boucher in his 14 minutes had 1 point and nothing else basically, but was a +9 player. Positively impacted you. You were a minus team technically without Boucher on the floor overall in that narrow win. So as we said, tough road ahead, and it starts immediately with an earlier game, 5 p.m. Eastern, tomorrow, leading into Thanksgiving, against the Detroit Pistons, who, man, things have turned for this organization over the last calendar year and even over the last couple of years especially. We're going to get into that on the other side. Stay with us here on Hold My Banner. It's Hold My Banner on Nesson Nation, and we're looking ahead to a very challenging game here for the Boston Celtics against that team right there that you were looking at, the Detroit Pistons. 13 straight wins for Detroit, longest active streak in the league as the Pistons on top of the East. Incredible turnaround from just 2 seasons ago where, 14-68. In fact, as I recall, I think there was a 14-game losing streak in that mix. This is now 15-2. So through 17 games, you already have more wins than 2 years ago, Detroit, where, you know, the roster is turned over, obviously, a bit. But at the, you know, the head of the snake is still Cade Cunningham. And you still have, obviously, some impactful players. Jalen Duren has taken incredible strides this year off of what he was last year. Celtics saw this team earlier this season. It was a loss, no shock, you know, but it was a close loss. Boston rallied in that fourth quarter to make it a game, fell by 6 ultimately. I guess going into this one, Ante, not knowing the injury report, again, I'm just going to sort of operate on the assumption that Cade is not going to be available for this game, but we don't know. He hasn't even been listed as questionable, hasn't been listed as anything as of yet. What's this game look like to you? Do the Pistons just keep on mopping up the NBA, basically?
If there's no Cade, then no. But if I wouldn't say mop. That's my issue. Like, I wouldn't say they're going to go out here and destroy the Celtics if Cade Cunningham is not a part of this squad going into the Wednesday night. Now, Jaden Ivey being back and playing a couple of games here has me feeling a little more nervous about this game than I felt after Game 3, you know what I mean, going into the season. Just because Jaden Ivey is just a physical guard. You know what I mean? He really just wants to get into your body, angles, straight at one shoulder, straight at another shoulder, straight at one hip, one hip. He's not going around you. He's not saucing you up.
Going through you.
He's going straight through your chest. Can a guy like Peyton Pritchard stay in front of that for 40 minutes, you know what I mean? Can Derrick White, at this point in his career, stay in front of that for 40 minutes? Can Anfernee Simons, when he subs in the game, stay in front of that for 40 minutes? I don't know if the Celtics have an answer for that, especially if both of those dudes are, because we know what Cade does. Cade is on the MVP level like
Right now, yeah.
Like he's a guy who we should all be looking at. Obviously, you got your Lucas, you got your JB. No, I'm just playing. I wish JB, but you got your Lucas, you got your Jokic,
Put up
you
some
got your
MVP-like
SGAs.
numbers. Team's not good enough.
You got JBs. You guys got your. Cade Cunningham is putting up an NBA MVP kind of season so far throughout this year. So if you have him and Ivy in that lineup, this could be a long night for the Boston Celtics.
Yeah, people out there may be going, Cade? Really? Let me tell you what the numbers are for Cade Cunningham right now in year 5 of his career. So through 14 games, because he has, missed a couple in there, he's shooting about 45%, not well from 3. That's off to a slow start. Only about 29%, 82%, actually a career low from the free throw line. But he's got 27 points, career high. 9.6 assists, career high. 6 rebounds, pretty close to a career high. Steals and blocks about 1 per game. The turnovers are, consistent with what he's been league average, about 3.5, career average, I should say. So look, impactful player, great player, playing top 5 guard in the NBA for sure.
Yeah.
And like you said, NBA conversation. I mean, there aren't too many guys in this moment, here and now, for this season that you would take over Cade Cunningham at the guard position. There are a few. It's SGA, Luka, Ant.
Right.
Yeah, it's not a long list, obviously. But can he do it alone? I mean, you mentioned Ivy, obviously, and let's just presume that Cade is going to be out there and that Ivy's going to keep doing those Ivy things.
Right.
Is this a Duren takeover game? Especially if Boston is saying, we're going to try and beat you with small ball, or we're going to trot Garza out there and know that he's going to get into foul trouble immediately.
Yeah, I think it is. And the reason that I think it is more than anything, even if Cade is out there, playing in this basketball game, is the fact that Duren, how we talk about the improvements that Cade has made in the short roll and all this other stuff, Duren's a playmaker for them out of the short roll, especially because they are absent of that backup point guard that they've had that got them, deeper in the playoffs last year into the playoffs for the first time in a long time. And obviously taking that series to 7 with the Knicks because they had that backup point guard play. Now they didn't have that coming into this year, obviously, with Ivy starting out on the injured list and now playing only 2 games. They have to find somebody who's going to play make outside of Cade, and it's been Duren. He's been the guy. You put him at the free throw line. He's shooting step backs from time to time. Like, he's shooting pull-up jumpers.
He's averaging 20 points a game.
He's throwing dimes.
Nobody thinks of Jalen Duren as a 20-point-per-game scorer.
I've seen him in every situation. JB's putting him in situations where it's like, okay, I'm out here looking like, is he throwing Jokic kind of pass? Like, seriously, though.
Yeah.
Like, if you're watching this dude play right now, his playmaking, you can talk about the shot blocking. You can talk about him finishing at the rim. Those things have been there since he was a pup in this league. He is now adding a mid-range game consistently into his game, and the fact that he will put the ball on the deck and not only go to the basket and dunk on you or finish at the rim, he will dime it out to the shooters. Like, that's a scary package to have. People are always talking about how great Jokic is, and he does those things. Now imagine doing it at a lesser level because he's not Jokic.
Yeah.
But also being way more athletic than he is. It's a pretty scary thing, and also the fact that he's not even the best player on this team.
Well, he's definitely not the best player on his team, but he has been a tremendous number 2 for what they need him to be. But the biggest thing for me, in line with but also on top of everything that you've been talking about with Duren, is the minutes, at least over the last 3 years, he was 25 per as a rookie. But over the last 3 years, he's pretty consistently been at, let's call it 28, 29. The minutes are the same. It's the way they're using him, as you said. It's the way he is playing. Shot volume is up. But the thing that jumps out at me the most, and this can absolutely decimate Boston, this could decide the Celtics in the opening half of this game, is his career average over 3 seasons coming into this year, about 2.9-ish free throw attempts per game.
Yeah.
Barely getting to the stripe. This year, 7.5. He is routinely getting to the line, out-muscling you down low, drawing fouls, staying physical, collecting a chunk of his points there because he's shooting 76%, which is basically a career best also. Maybe we could look at this, Ante, and say, where he's played 15 games, it's an outlier, it's not going to continue. That might be the case.
Maybe.
But I'm not trusting that. To me, until I see otherwise, this is the new normal. And this is a problem if you're a team built the way Boston is.
And he's been him and Cade are the reason that they're winning. When those two dudes are going, they're winning. Cade, I'll start with Derrick. He when he's winning and when he's playing his best basketball, when they win, he's averaging 21 points a game, 12 rebounds, and 2 assists and a block and a steal. When they have lost, he's at 11 points a game, shooting 50% from the line, like you said. When he gets there, he's not making them in those losses versus the 77%.
When they have lost their 2 games.
Right, and they're 2 games. It's bad. But it's a sample size.
It's a sample size, absolutely.
When
if the wins are, so are the losses.
When they're playing well, they win. When those two dudes are not scoring the ball or not in their own right or whatever, they lost. It's that simple for this team. So if these two dudes get going, if Cade plays, whatever, Duren, if those two dudes are going, it's going to be a long night for this Boston Celtics team. That's it.
So we do a lot of, there's so much Jaylen Brown conversation on this show, elsewhere. He's your one, right? Even if you want to do the whole 1A, 1B thing when Jason Tatum was available, and hopefully he will be in a matter of months, right now there is a clear-cut number 1 on this team. It's not a 1A, 1B, it's a 1. And then you have a 2, maybe even a 1, and then a 3A, 3B on some nights, the way this thing looks. But you got a 1, it's Jaylen Brown. We're going to talk plenty about Jaylen throughout the show a little bit later, some interesting stuff about, potentially leaving Boston in the past, and a name you never in a million years would have guessed, talking them out of any type of decision along those lines. But when it comes to Brown, off of, again, a very good game against Orlando overall, and what has generally been a very good season for him out of the gate. How much pressure is on him in this one? If Boston is going to find a way to win this game, how much of that onus falls upon Brown, to be the guy that makes that happen? Do we need a 35, 40-point performance out of Brown?
Yeah, you do. But 41 wasn't enough last game.
That's a good point.
So
it's a great point.
Once again, it goes back to what we were talking about a couple minutes ago. The other guys have to step up. I hate keep saying these guys' names, but Derrick White's got to make a shot, man. He's got to make a shot. I love Derrick White, and I want him to be successful in this Boston Celtics jersey. But the truth of the matter is, if this team wants to win games, and he needs to be a consistent factor. I need to know every single night, Derrick White is going to give me 15 at least.
Yeah.
I'm not asking for 20. I'm not asking for 30.
Sure.
15 at least. I don't want the 30 one night, 9 the next night.
Yeah.
I don't need that Derrick White anymore. That's not acceptable. He has to be able to make a shot. And then on top of that, everybody else has to play their role and continue to fight for rebounds. That's what I love to see about this Boston Celtics team when Queta went down. You saw Peyton Pritchard getting in there, putting his nose in there, trying to get a rebound. You saw, Minott come in and play the 5 and do those things. If we're going to be a team that is absent of talent, which the Boston Celtics clearly are right now. They don't have the depth that they've had over the last couple of years. Larry Bird's not walking through that door. You know what I'm saying? You have to be scrappy and you have to be consistent. That's it. Those are the 2 things that you have to do. You have to junk up games in any way, shape, or manner that you can. That's on Joe. That's on the guys who are playing. But you also have to know, hey, pencil Derrick White in for 15, pencil Peyton Pritchard in for 17 and 10, pencil in JB for 25. JB's doing this part. Peyton Pritchard's now doing this part. You're supposed to be the third guy. The guy that Adam told me is going to be an all-star this year. You need to start doing your part now.
Has to. Again, you said it, the consistency, and we've seen him go off. We know he's capable of going off, and I don't want to compare Derrick White to LeBron, right? Someone who's, if not the greatest of all time, he's in that top 2 conversation kind of thing. He's not my GOAT. He's a lot of people's GOATs, though, depending on your generation. Still,
big.
LeBron, the last time the guy didn't score 10 points in a game was the Bush administration.
Right.
I'm not even sure that's an exaggeration. Derrick, you got to give us 10 at minimum, 15 ideally every single game. You just have to. The opportunity is there. The shot volume's there. This roster, it needs it desperately. And if it's not him, it's got to be Peyton. It's got to be Simons. Really, it's got to be 2 out of the 3.
Yeah.
Consistently giving you 15 points in every game.
100%.
Only one can afford to have an off night.
100%.
At best. And that's all the while expecting 30-plus out of Jaylen,
Right.
which ain't fair. Anyway, we're going to talk more about Anfernee Simons when we come back, because it's sort of that time of the year, right? Trade deadline is still a couple months out, but leading into that, every once in a while, people are going to be playing on their trade machines and coming up with, well, who's likely to go somewhere, who's not a part of this team's future. Almost nobody, probably even including the man himself, Anfernee Simons, believes he is in Boston for the long term. So there was an article written about a new landing spot potentially for Simons, and the return to Boston, well, it'd be useful.
Yeah.
It'd be a useful return. We'll explore whether it's realistic when we come back. So this really, let's forget the Nets element of this, and I want Klay Thompson. Well, okay, who cares?
Who wants Klay Thompson?
Not even the Nets, but we're just entertaining this for a moment here. And the Celtics would get, look, if we're going to operate in reality, Ante, this deal doesn't happen for a range of reasons. Among them, Dallas, I don't believe, is getting rid of Gafford. I mean, Lively's out for I don't know how long. Davis is out for I don't know how long. Right. I know this team entered the year with a dearth of bigs, but those are dropping like flies. Yeah. You need your guys. So I don't think Gafford, until they've outright completely given up on the season, is going anywhere. So we're playing the game. We're reacting, obviously, to what is out here. And Gafford, I guess, let's frame it this way. I'm sure you're fine getting rid of Simons. I think most people are fine getting rid of Simons.
I don't know about fine.
Well, depending on the return.
Yeah.
Depending on the return. And I don't want to do, like, the trade exception stuff. Are we going to do another, like, round of TPEs? And, oh, my God, are they going to use it or lose it? And who are they going to get? Who can they afford to absorb in this TPE? For years, we've been doing TPE talk around Boston. I can't tell you how much mouth breathing I have done about TPEs and the Boston Celtics. They had a giant one. Who was it that they had? I think they got one for Porzingis that they're not going to use. So I don't care about the TPEs. I really don't. Gafford, though, when it comes to acquiring a big, I've mentioned Claxton to you before. Claxton would be a great fit here.
Yeah.
Is Gafford a guy that you want?
I like Claxton more, if that's what you're asking me. Is Gafford a good addition? I think so. I think when you look at this Boston Celtics team over the course of history, over at least the last 25 years or so, they haven't had the premier center. You know, they've had the premier four-man, they've had the premier three, but the premier five hasn't really been there. And it's been more of these kind of guys, a Queta plus a guy like a Gafford who goes out there and cleans up the rim for you and blocks shots and gets rebounds and will be physical and maybe a little bit of an enforcer, maybe a little chippy, talks a little smack, to the other team. Like, that's the Boston Celtics center identity. At least that's what it's kind of been. I would love to see him here in the short term. I don't want to see this deal happen today. And I don't think the Dallas Mavericks would want to see this deal happen today. They would want to see Lively come back and AD come back. And I agree with the same thing. I would love to see us get closer to Jason Tatum coming back, because I don't want to lose the offense production that Simons has been giving us off the bench. Like those 25-point outbursts in the half, we need that here in Boston.
Gafford's not doing that for you.
Derrick White's not doing that for you. So,
should be.
it's one of those things where, like you said, Gafford's not doing that. Guys on our team, other than Jaylen Brown and Peyton Pritchard, aren't doing that for you. So we need that scoring. It hasn't really been an issue of getting stops. This Boston Celtics team has actually still been one of the better defensive teams in the league. Mm-hmm. It's been an issue of can they put the ball in the hole in opportunities when they need to. There's been a lot of sloppy play and quarters and all this other stuff. And really, everyone wants to talk about, the Celtics let the Magic back in the game and blah, blah, blah. Like I said, it was because of the scoring of the Magic. But guess what they do? They matched fire with fire. JB gave it right back to them. So offense matters just as much as defense matters. And adding defense to this team is important. Adding rim protection is important. I think it will be a better asset to have once you get closer to having Jason Tatum.
You may be wondering, but even if you're not, well, what's this dude Eric's angle? What's he thinking? What's the reasoning behind it? It's a little blurb in the article. I'll just read it to you so we're all on the same page. The Celtics' acquisition of Simons from the Trailblazers was more about getting out of Drew Holiday's contract than what Simons brings to the court. Fine, I think most of us agree with that, even though I was excited about Simons.
I am too.
With Tatum presumably out for the year, the franchise, I don't agree with that, by the way. The franchise chose to shed core members like Porzingis and Holiday while letting veteran center Al Horford leave for the Warriors in free agency. They didn't let him leave. He didn't want to come back.
And I think we're okay with that right now.
Yeah, at the moment. He's looking my age. Instead of staying above the second apron with massive repeater taxes, Boston got its payroll to a more manageable level, still about $12 million over the luxury tax line of roughly $188 million. Acquiring Gafford fills a significant hole at center for a player the team may be unlikely to retain in Simons. By getting about $1.2 million under the threshold, Boston takes a necessary step toward getting out of the repeater tax. Outside of Simons and cash, the primary expense is the 2026 pick, protected to be in the 31 to 35 range from New Orleans.
Who cares?
Honestly, the Simons trade exception could prove valuable next summer, provided Boston stays below that 2026-27 first apron. So, all right, there's a talking point. If you're going out and in any deal, forget Gafford for a second. If you are moving off of Simons and getting a big, fat traded player exception in return as part of a deal that you can absorb a lot of very good players into in terms of NBA contracts that could conceivably be available. Lots of teams every year like to kind of reset either at the offseason or at the trade deadline. There are guys who you could acquire there. Do you think they'd use it, though, given obviously where they are financially in trying to stay below certain benchmarks? Because if you're not going to use it, it's worthless.
Yeah, no, I don't. Like, it hasn't been in the Celtics history to use these things. So, no, I really don't. Like, I don't care, to be honest with you. Like, I don't think that this team is going to use anything but their ability to try to get free agents to come here and play with JT and JB, and the fact
which are on the cheap, given where you are financially.
Right, and the one asset that they have right now. Like, what other tradable assets really do the Boston Celtics have?
White is a very tradable asset if you want to do it.
If he wants to make shots.
Even still, I think NBA teams know what he is and who he is and what he can be when he's not relied upon to be a number two.
I think his value is falling rapidly right now.
Rapidly.
Rapidly.
I'm not going to disagree with the notion that it's ticking down. Rapidly falling, I can't get there yet.
I think a lot of what Derrick White brings to a team is going to be valued by winners, right? And I think winners are not willing to give up great assets to get a glue guy. And that's exactly what Derrick White is, and he's great, and he will be a great glue guy for somebody else if the Boston Celtics decide that they do want to trade him. Like, it'll be one of those moves where you'll get back some young piece, maybe a draft capital or something like that, and you're a little nervous about, like, the fact that Derrick White is now dropping 30 in a Game 7. Like, that's going to happen if they do trade him, you know? But I don't think you're getting back what you could have got back when there was this mystique around what Derrick White could be.
Right.
There was some, Derrick White could be an all-star. He could be this. I don't think any NBA GM is sitting there saying, Derrick White could be my second best player on the championship team.
Yeah.
Some people were probably questioning that this summer, whether he was that good. And they were probably fair to question that. So that's why I say rapidly declining, because now you went from, oh, could this guy be an all-star, to like, all right, he might be Bruce Brown. He might be KCP. No offense to those dudes, or no offense to him. Very good role players on championship teams that did a lot and made a lot of great plays on championship teams. But Derrick White, in this increased role, hasn't been much. So you're saying, all right, I can plug him in. He can come play for me if I'm the Nuggets, and he can be my fourth option.
Yeah.
But Derrick White's not a third option. He's just not. He hasn't shown us that he can be.
And I'm not going to sit here and say we don't need to see more out of Derrick White. I think you're selling him a bit short. Like, Bruce Brown and KCP on their best days in terms of consistency have never been Derrick White.
I think you're vastly forgetting with Bruce Brown. I mean,
Bruce Brown and the Denver Nuggets, pre-Pacers, previous incarnation when they won the championship, was exceptional.
And he got paid because of it.
But he wasn't putting up the numbers White was on any sort of consistent basis. I just can't believe that I'm going to have to, like, I can see the future now, and I can't believe I'm going to have to do another, I don't know how many months or year of TPE talk. Like, let me just remind people.
That's why you asked me if they're going to use it. I'm like, I don't care. They're not going to do it. Like, I don't care. They're going to use what they got.
When Adam Kaufman, LLC, decides he's going to start his own company, Jay here and Toby and Ante, I'm going to hire them all. And I can't wait to give all these guys stock options. And they are going to love it. Here's the problem.
Yeah.
Those things are toilet paper unless I go public. That's what a TPE is,
right,
unless you use it. Meaningless. Completely, totally meaningless.
That's why I said I don't know why you're asking me if they're going to use it. I don't care. They're probably not going to. I mean, that's just, get over it, Adam. They're not going to. So, I mean, this is a fantasy trade. That's why we're having this fantasy conversation. I love that it's getting you this wound up and tight. But, like, it is what it is.
Jaylen Brown thought about leaving the Celtics. He did. He said it on his Twitch stream. He thought about leaving the Celtics. And a Hall of Famer with almost no connection to Boston talked him out of it. We're going to hear from him when we come back. Jaylen Brown on his Twitch stream, and, well, thanks to Tracy McGrady. I guess we got to start there, right? Because this is the year 10 of Jaylen Brown in the NBA and obviously in a Celtics uniform, where he has gotten progressively better and better and better. As we know, various accolades along the way, none bigger than NBA Finals and Eastern Conference Finals MVPs en route to Banner 18 just over a year ago at this time. And hopefully Banner 19 is in the future, despite so many years of would you trade him for Kawhi Leonard? Would you trade him for Anthony Davis?
Can we stop with that?
Well, look, he acknowledged it, man.
Right.
Like the Brad Stevens putting him in trades, or Danny Ainge putting him in trades. You know, people wonder, and look, it's not dead. Like,
right,
people still today talk about would you trade Jaylen Brown and what could you get for him? Is it the right way to build a championship? Blah, blah, blah. But I think him acknowledging it is interesting. And I think the whole conversation, and I don't, good on McGrady. Again, it's not like he has any ties to the Celtics.
Right.
But I think you think back to what could have happened, and it's so difficult to win a championship in this league, any league, but we're talking about the NBA. It's so difficult to win championships, Ante. Your title windows are so short for most franchises, non-existent for others. You know, if he had been traded, sure, maybe they still win a ring with a different contingent of players, maybe multiple. I have no idea. There's also a very real scenario where you're still sitting on the last one coming from the new Big Three era and wondering when it's going to come, and is Tatum going to see one, or is he going to want out too, and on and on and on. And it really speaks to this alternate universe of how different I think Jaylen Brown's career, which is not close to done, but how different it would look if he moved on somewhere else, especially so early in his career. Because right now, again, year 10 of this guy, we are talking about, I believe, a Hall of Famer, ultimately.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll see, but I think he's on that track. We're talking about a champion. We're talking about number 7 up in the rafters at the Garden. All these things, being remembered a Celtic, and one of, not the greatest probably, but one of the great Celtics, influential Celtics, not a should his number really be up there kind of debates like you have with some of these guys for an organization that has retired an awful lot of numbers. So for him to talk about it on the Twitch stream, I think it's been a really interesting forum, an outlet for him, obviously.
Yeah.
And this one it's a compelling little storyline, even though nothing happened.
It is compelling. I'm glad that Tracy McGrady obviously got him to stay and figure out what was important and what he was building here and all of those things. I've been in one of those situations before. I think every athlete has been in that situation before where you're sitting there and you're thinking like, man, I'm doing this thing over and over and over again for however long that is, right? And you're saying, could I be of help to somebody else in another spot, especially if I'm not being appreciated fully by whoever where I am. It might be the GM, it might be the coach, it might be the fans, it might be your teammates. Who knows?
Sure.
Any type of situation like that. And when I was in those situations, I had to lean on my people who were around me too, who I trusted, who I believed in, who have been in similar situations before. I love the fact that T-Mac was in this before and he saw how he had regrets and how he went about getting out of the situation. So he told his young guy, like, man, like, take me, for example. Like, you looked up to me, you wore my shoes, all this other stuff, Adidas, whatever. Like, I'm telling you, it's not better. Grass ain't greener on the other side.
Yeah.
Like, it's just not. Everywhere you're going to have struggles. Everywhere it's going to be hard to win. Like you said, winning the championship is hard to do in any league at any level. It's hard to do. To be the best of any situation is hard to do. So doing it in somewhere that you started, it just feels so gratifying. And I know that moment for Jaylen Brown when he got to hoist up the Larry LB and then also hoist up Finals MVP was just surreal for him because when you are, because if you're thinking about that, like, you're close. It's not like yeah, man, what would it be like if I play? He was like close probably to being like, yo, get me out of here. I don't want to play here. You know what I mean? Like, I want to go off to the next spot. So shout out to JB for one, sticking through it, persevering, because that lesson is a good lesson for anybody who's listening to him to learn about, not just about basketball, but about life. You know what I mean? About sticking through stuff and getting through challenges when it's not going your way. That doesn't mean that it's not in your best interest. You know what I mean? That just means that it's a roadblock that you need to get through. The narrative around trading him, which I hope is dying, because I mean, 12 points in the fourth quarter. We saw him take over every single night.
But you don't believe he's a lifetime Celtic, do you? And that's not a knock on Jalen. It's just this era of professional sports.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think Jason Tatum's a lifetime Celtic. I hope he is.
You're drinking the Kool-Aid on that one if you don't think JT's a lifetime Celtic. I think JT for sure is a lifetime Celtic.
For sure.
For sure is a lifetime.
Think about how few guys in recent history are. Paul Pierce wasn't.
Yeah, if he wants to be.
Paul Pierce wanted to be.
Yeah, the Paul Pierce situation was different, though.
How do you know Jason Tatum's won't be by the end?
We don't know. But I think
if Jason Tatum wants to play until he's 40.
We all assume that he's coming back looking like 95%.
I'm not even saying he's not,
Tatum.
and he's 27 or whatever.
Right.
I'm talking about 38-year-old Jason Tatum that wants to keep playing another couple of years.
Yeah.
You're going to tell me guaranteed he's not going ananywhere?
I would think so.
Okay.
You thought Dirk was going to be a Maverick for forever? We all thought Kobe was leaving.
Tim Duncan, Kobe, Dirk. It's such a small sample size. We've got less than 90 seconds.
Humility. And that's all I will say about those two. They both have humility and they understand who they are. And they're not the type of guys, I don't feel like, to be like Steve Nash, I need to go play for the Lakers because I still got stuff left in the tank.
That's not even what I'm saying. I'm not saying their prime years are going to be somewhere else. I'm just saying by the end, Hakeem winds up on the Raptors.
All right.
You know?
Whatever. We don't even have time for a league pass game.
I've upset him.
We don't even have time for a league pass game.
Give me your league pass game.
I don't got time for it.
All right, I'll give you one.
Okay, go ahead.
Cavs-Hawks on Friday.
Cavs-Hawks on Friday.
Cavs-Hawks.
Okay.
That is a league pass exclusive game between two winning teams that are supposed to be near the top of the East.
I'll give you one real quick. Bulls at Hornets, and you're going to laugh at me, but I want to watch playmaking between Giddey and Ball. That's it. I just want to see those two dudes pass the ball around and get dang near a triple-double. That's all I'm watching.
I hope you're passing the food around the table on Thursday. I hope you're enjoying yourself. A nice, happy, healthy, fun-filled Thanksgiving. You, your family, same for Toby and Jay behind the scenes. All of you out there watching along, we appreciate you. Hold my banner. It does come your way. Tuesdays, Thursdays, 1 p.m. Eastern, Ness and Nation, most every week. But, of course, Thursday being the holiday, we will not see you then, which means in a week, we'll continue this argument about Jason Tatum. Happy Thanksgiving.
See ya.